Hi friends, Ali here. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to crochet the Basic Ridge Headband. This is a super quick and easy pattern. It's beginner friendly. We'll only be using a few basic crochet stitches. It also works up really fast and uses a minimal amount of yarn. This headband is perfect for cooler weather, make for yourself, your kids, to sell at markets, or give as gifts. I made this multicolored one for my daughter and she absolutely loves it. This pattern includes 8 sizes for babies, kids, and adults, so you can make one for anyone. It's also really easy to customize the size to be any length or width that you'd like. This headband matches my Basic Ridge beanie that I released last week, so if you enjoy this headband pattern, then be sure to check out the Basic Ridge beanie as well. I do plan on adding more patterns to this collection in the future. So far I have mittens and a scarf on my list, so let me know if there are any other items you'd want to see with these stitches as well. You can find the free written version of the Basic Ridge headband pattern on my website, theturtletrunk.com, or grab the ad-free PDF version from my Etsy and Ravelry shops. I'll link to all the places in the description box down below. Now, let's head over to our supply list and our size chart. For this pattern, you'll need medium 4-weight yarn. I'll be using Yarn Bee Yarn ID. You'll also need a 5mm or H crochet hook, a yarn needle, and scissors. Here is our size chart. There are 8 sizes included in this pattern, although you can easily customize the circumference and the height of the headband, and I'll let you know how to do that during the pattern. But in the far left column, you'll see all of the head sizes, then the headband circumference, the headband height, and the yardage needed per size. I will have written instructions in the top right corner of the screen, and it will be in order from the smallest size to the largest, so take note of where your size places in line. When you're ready, let's grab our yarn and crochet hook and let's get making. We're going to begin with a slip knot on our hook, then make our foundation chain. If you want to customize the circumference of your headband, you can work any even number of chains. To make a chain, yarn over and pull through the loop on your hook. When we're all done our foundation chain, we're going to join the ends together to make a loop. Now, I always have a hard time with twisting the chain, so I've learned this trick if you want to try it. So after working a few chains, I'm going to remove my hook and insert it back into the first chain we worked, working through the back and into that bottom loop. Then I'm just going to leave that on my hook and work the rest of my foundation chain. When we get to the end, I'll just pull through this loop to join the ends and our chain won't be twisted. Feel free to try this trick if you'd like, or just make your foundation chain as normal and join at the end. For the size baby 0 to 3 months, you're going to chain 36. Baby 3 to 6 months, chain 40. Baby 6 to 12 months, chain 44. Toddler 1 to 3 years, chain 48. Child 3 to 10 years, chain 52. Teen/adult small, chain 56. Adult medium, chain 60. And adult large, chain 64. When you're done your foundation chain, we're going to join the ends together. So if you did my little trick, you can just pull the loop on your hook through like so. If you didn't do that, then you just want to join to the first chain that you worked. Then we're going to chain 1, and now we're going to be working in the round. And also the chain 1 at the beginning of each round does not count as a stitch. So starting into the same chain that we joined to, we're going to half double crochet into each chain around, but instead of working at the top of the chain like you normally would, we are going to work in the back bump of the chain. This is going to give the bottom edge of our headband a nice smooth edge. So if you look at the back of the chain, you can see that little bump poking out. We are going to work into that bump. Now the first one is usually a little hard to see and hard to work in, but then after you get going, they're easier to see and they bump out a little bit more. So we're going to work a half double crochet, so yarn over and insert your hook into the back bump of that first chain. then yarn over and pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So there we have 1 half double crochet, and we're just going to do that in each chain all the way around, working in the back bump of the chain, and you're going to end up with the same number of stitches around that you had foundation chains. When you reach the end, join to the top of the first half double crochet with a slip stitch and chain 1. And now we're on to round 2. For round 2, we are going to half double crochet into each stitch around, but we are going to work into the 3rd loop only in each stitch. So when you look at the top of your stitches, the loop closest to you is the front loop and the one furthest from you is the back loop. And then on the back of a half double crochet stitch, there is a 3rd loop. So it's there on the back of the stitch. So we're going to be working in that 3rd loop only, and that's going to give us a nice ridge around our headband. So yarn over and insert your hook into the first stitch, working in the 3rd loop. The first one is a little bit harder to see and work into, but then once you get going, they're easier to see. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook, and then we're just going to repeat this all the way around, working in the 3rd loop only. Your stitch count is going to remain the same as round 1. When you reach the end, join to the top of the first half double crochet with a slip stitch and chain 1. And now we are going to turn our work, so we are working on the inside of our headband. The next stitches we're going to be working has texture on the back side, so since we want that to show on the front, we are going to work it on the opposite side of our headband so that it shows on the front of the headband. So we're going to begin by working a slip stitch into the first stitch. Make sure that you're working your slip stitches for this round loosely so that you can work back into them easily. So slip stitch into the first stitch. Then half double crochet into the next stitch. And we're just going to repeat those 2 stitches all the way around. So slip stitch into the next stitch, half double crochet into the next stitch. And it's that 3rd loop on the back of the half double crochet that's giving us the texture on the front, so I'll show you there. So you can see that poking out on the front there. So just repeat around for round 3, slip stitch into the next stitch, half double crochet into the next stitch, and your stitch count will remain the same as the previous rounds. The last stitch of the round will be a half double crochet. Then you can join to the top of the first stitch with a slip stitch. And chain 1. And then we're going to turn our work again, so we're working on the front side of our headband. Now we're on to round 4, and we're going to work 1 half double crochet into each stitch around. And we're just going to be working in the top of the stitch as you normally would. So for round 4, just work 1 half double crochet into each stitch around, and your stitch count will remain the same as the previous rounds. At the end of the round, join to the top of the first stitch with a slip stitch and chain 1. Now we're on to round 5. For round 5, we're going to half double crochet into each stitch around, working into the 3rd loop again. So we're just repeating what we did for round 2. So half double crochet in the 3rd loop only in each stitch around for round 5. At the end of the round, join to the top of the first stitch with a slip stitch and chain 1. And we're just going to repeat the last 3 rounds. So we're going to repeat rounds 3, 4, and 5. So this is our slip stitch and half double crochet round. So we are going to work on the inside. So turn your work, and we're going to repeat round 3. And we're going to repeat rounds 3, 4, and 5 once for the baby, toddler, and child size. And for the adult sizes, we are going to repeat rounds 3, 4, and 5 2 more times. So for the smaller sizes, you're just going to work 3 more rounds, and then for the larger sizes, you're going to work 6 more rounds. Now, if you want to customize the height of your headband, feel free to repeat these 3 rounds as many times as you'd like. So I'm going to carry on, and I'll catch up with you at the end. So I'm just coming up to the end of round 11 for the adult size. Join to the top of the first stitch and chain 1, and then you can cut off your yarn, leaving a long enough tail end that you can weave it in. So I'm going to weave in my ends on the inside of my headband. So I'm going to flip it inside out and weave in my ends, and then we're all done. And here we have our Basic Ridge Headband. I really hope you enjoyed this pattern. Thank you so much for following along. Don't forget you can find this pattern and many more free crochet patterns on my blog, theturtletrunk.com. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.